Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be starting a series about emergency planning and how best to prepare for emergencies for you and your family. Hello and welcome to our channel. Here we're not only going to show you how we turned our house into our small family farm, but how and why things work around the house. If you guys haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when all of our new videos do come out each and every week. So we have a lot of family that's in California, and with all the forest fires that are going on out there, we thought we really needed some more emergency planning just in case something happened to our home here. So we did a lot of thinking about it and research about it. We found a few different ways that we can help prepare for emergencies when they do come up. So the first thing that you got to do is have a plan of what you're going to do when an emergency hits. Because if you're stressed about getting out of the house because it's either on fire, there's a forest fire around, or some natural disaster is happening, and you don't have it planned out and written out in advance of what you're going to do, you're going to forget. So you need to have a plan, you need to think about it, write it out, and have it ready just in case. And that's what I did. I just got a Word document, planned out everything that I'm about to talk about, and then I generated from that these little cards, and I'll show you what's on each of these individual cards in a little bit. So let's talk about what should be in your plan. First and foremost, it should be a list of things that you need to have when you need to get out of your house in a hurry. And don't be afraid to make it sound really dumb, because if you're stressed out in an emergency, you're gonna forget things. So you need to have it step by step laid out of what exactly you need to bring so you don't forget anything. So for example, in my list, number one is all the family members. Should be self-explanatory, but it's just making you double check everything. Second is gonna be all of our animals. So our dogs, make sure all of those are out and outside. The third thing on our list is documents from our safe. We have all of our birth certificates, marriage licenses, social security cards, titles, everything in one little binder in our safe. So that way if we need to run in and grab it real quick, we'll just pull it out, and it's got everything we could possibly need. The fourth thing that we have on there is our go bag. And our go bag has a bunch of things in there that we could use or need in various situations. And we'll go into that next week in our video on our go bag and what's in it. And the fifth thing that we're going to add to this list is our box of food that's in our pantry. It's specifically things like a bag of rice, a bunch of canned food, a bunch of canned dog food, that kind of stuff. So keep in mind this list isn't for a specific emergency, but if you follow this list in order of importance and what you can get out of the house, it should prepare you in most any emergency. So the second thing you need to plan for and have on your cards, like I do, is emergency contact information. Obviously 911, self-explanatory, you know that. I still put it on just because. The second thing you want to put on there is any non-emergency numbers for any sheriffs, police, fire department. So the next thing to have on here is the poison control phone number. And that's the same for everywhere in the US. It's 1-800-222-1222. That's important to have just even if you're not leaving the house and you need to look it up and find it real fast. They can help you if your kid ingests something, someone in your house ingests something, and what best to do to help that person. You also want to put in there any cell phone numbers, any work numbers, any dispatch phone numbers, any school numbers, anything like that, even emergency contact phone numbers and addresses. So this is useful especially not only if you're bugging out of your house, but if you have someone like a babysitter, someone watching one of your kids while you're gone, and something happens. A, they need to get a hold of someone like one of you, or they need to get a hold of someone like an emergency service provider like poison control or the fire department. They can just go to this and find it and make that phone call. The third thing you need to put in your plan and in your cards is emergency meeting locations. You're going to have 3 of these as ideal. One is going to be in the immediate area of your house. In this case, it's just down the street. We have an open lot, so that's emergency meeting location 1. And we have a picture of that with an arrow and everything just to show exactly where we want to go. So that way, if there's, once again, someone watching our kids, they can easily look at this and follow it to a T and get there. For the second location, it's going to be in the general neighborhood area. In this case, we have a drugstore that's a couple of miles away at a prominent location, a prominent cross street. So that way it's easy to find for not only us, but any rescuers, or it's an easy rally location for us and someone else. So we have 2 cards for that. One is an overview card, just give you a broad picture of how to get there. And 2 is going to be a zoomed in picture of that area so we know exactly where we're going to meet someone. The third emergency meeting location you want to have in here is someplace out of state. So think of like a major disaster, wildfire, earthquake, something like that happens and you need to get a ways away from where you're at. So say for example, we're on a vacation somewhere out of state, like in New York or something like that, and we have some friends watching our kids here, and something bad happens here in the whole state and they need to get out of town, but they don't know where to go. So instead of having to figure out how to call us, get in contact with us, they can just look at our cards, figure out, oh hey, the out-of-state location. They got the address, they got an overview picture on one side. On the back, it's the written out instructions so they can follow it even if they don't have a cell phone service. So that's pretty much it for the plan and in terms of what's on the cards. So the other thing you want to think about in your emergency plan, and you don't necessarily have to write this out, but you want to think about it so you have a plan if this needs to happen, is what to do in case of a fire. And like if your front door is blocked because of a fire or something fell, any reason like that, you need to think about how are you going to get out of your house. Are you going to use a back door? Are you going to use windows? And also, how are you going to get to your kids' rooms? How are they going to get out? You got to keep in mind that if there's a house fire, there's probably going to be a lot of smoke in your house, and you're not going to be able to stand up and walk like you normally would. You're going to have to crawl to those places. So just keep that in mind, that you're going to have to probably feel for where you're going. You also want to keep in mind that if your kids are old enough to know how to, you want to teach them what to do in an emergency. Probably a best age to start doing this is about 4 years old. Is when they can start to comprehend what an emergency is and when to actually leave the house and why. You want to teach them, hey, how to get out of the front door, how to go to the back door, and why they would do that, or when they want to try and break that window in their room to get out. So what I did after I got that plan together is I went ahead and put them into these little card formats on Photoshop. I pasted all the information on there. I got Google Maps pictures for the emergency meeting locations. And then I went ahead and printed them out, and then I laminated them with our home laminator. I put a hole in them and put them on a ring. Now this is important for us because this is something you're going to need in an emergency. You're not going to want to have to try and find this stuff. It needs to be right where you're going to go. So in this case, we're going to put it right next to our door. Obviously, this is not something you want hanging out or just hanging around for everyone to see because A, it has some pretty sensitive stuff in it, but also it doesn't look very pretty. So what we're going to do is put it kind of behind something right next to the door so it's easy to find. And so we can grab it, take a look at it, and reference it in an emergency if we need to. Just keep in mind if you do have a babysitter, family, someone coming over to watch over the house, your kids, dogs, something like that, just make sure to show them where this is and explain it to them so they can know how and when to use it. So that's it for today. That's very basic. I have these cards here, pretty simple. If you have any questions about them or what we put on them, go ahead and comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Make sure to check out next week. We're still working on putting everything together for it, but we're going to be talking about go bags. This is going to be a overall go bag that'll cover a lot of different emergencies. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when that does come out. It should be pretty interesting and informative. Thanks a lot, y'all. You have a good one.